Hello there, everybody. The name is Lembo Laird Jr. and I am here with Mr. Chase.
Hello.
Not Chase and Status, but this is Rebel Scum. And this is the artist I've been listening to for quite a while. And I have to give my love and respect to people like Reaper for introducing me to an incredible artist such as you.
That's right.
I have to ask right here, right now, since you are pretty much been a special guest for the Challenger Tour throughout the majority of the tour, Phase 1 and Phase 2, what is it about you and Reaper that, you guys, come together and he says, you know what, I'm bringing you on this tour because you have something to bring to the drum and bass community?
Yeah, I think from ever since that we first, connected, which was actually me sliding into his Instagram DMs, sending him some tracks, I think ever since then we have been really big fans of each other's music, and he's one of my biggest supporters, and I'm so thankful to even know him at all, just because he's such a nice dude, and this has been so much fun. But I think over time, that initial music connection turned into a really awesome friendship, and we've been really, really good friends ever since a couple of years ago, just talking about music and going to some shows. And I think just in general, he's one of my favorite people to play with because we kind of try to outdo each other in terms of going as hard as we possibly can. And
Understood.
Yeah.
So I feel like, speaking of on that point, you're trying to outdo one another, how hard each person can go with your sets.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder if that's the relationship.
Yeah.
Do you think it kind of helps or hinders a show? Because we want people to be thinking oh my gosh, Rebel Scum went so hard. Should we even stay for Reaper?
Yeah.
But it's is it worth it?
That's fair. I will say when I'm talking to him or I'm showing him tracks and stuff like that, not during a show or whatever, he's always you should play that track and you should go as hard as possible. And it's awesome because he put it in a really good way. He was if I was out there watching the show, I would want that from everybody. And I was that is a really good point. So I think that's what we try to do at our shows, which is super fun. I have a really great time.
So could there be a day or could there be a show where it's you know what, we're just gonna reverse the roles. You're gonna be the headliner, and I'll be the supporting artist.
I don't know. Maybe way in the future, we play in Seattle, which is my hometown. Maybe. But I have no problem going before him. He's one of those guys where it's I don't know if I could go harder than him. You know what I mean?
What do you mean I don't know if you could?
I'm gonna try.
Are you
always? But I think that he, he's also one of my favorite artists of all time. Mm-hmm. So I look up to him as well as mess around with him he's my brother. And so it's the competition is fun and also super lighthearted and not really much of a competition at all. We're just trying to get a laugh and have fun. So.
Understood.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, regarding the talk about drum and bass, Reaper knows me, slid the DM to succeed and shot your shot, and you guys were kind of a thing ever since. It didn't really begin that way because if we go back 6, maybe even 7 years ago, drum and bass wasn't really in the forte. We had certain songs like Ascension, and of course we had a 3-track EP that was pretty incredible too. That was, I think, released on Impossible Records, where it was a lot more focused on almost dubstep, almost trap type of sound. So at that time when you were starting off, did you think you would make a transition to drum and bass, or did you still want to stick with that type of sound?
That's a really good question. I can't believe you know Ascension, the song. That was the first time I ever had an actual label release. I was freaking out, and man, I should listen to that again. But I think so. We gotta give a shout out to the labels who saw you and decided to give you a chance. People who helped say no, we're gonna release Ascension. Who worked in Most Addictive, who worked in Play Me Records. Those are some of the artists. Thanks to those labels, it led me to artists that are already shining stars nowadays. So I give my love to those little labels who are the stepping stones to building up something even greater. Yeah, huge shout out Reed Speed. Also huge shout out KJ Saka, who we grew up in the same town in Seattle, actually, and we have like a lot of crazy connections. But obviously, one of my favorite is that he's Pendulum's drummer. And I remember like what really got me into electronic music was Pendulum. That was my first, because I played in a band, and then that was my first forte into electronic music. So I feel like
song from Pendulum that really stuck out to you?
Propane Nightmares, 100%.
Propane Nightmares.
In Silico was still one of my favorite albums of all time, and I listened to it all the way through on the regular. And I saw a show in Seattle where Pendulum played. It was like 2009, maybe. This is like the early dubstep times when it started to get attention. And Excision opened for them, or he did direct support for them.
Wow.
And that was also the first time I heard dubstep. And so, anyway, it all started with D&B for me. And I think I did a lot of side quests. And then I realized, I should do like my first love. And then when I started making it, I realized I was like, this is better than my other stuff. So I'm going to just keep doing it, and I'm having way more fun making it. So
understood. And do you know, or can you recall, like, the song that like pretty much started the whole drum and bass journey that made you like, learn to Reaper and like, really take inspiration from Pendulum? If you can recall the first Rebel Scum drum and bass track.
It has to be the first track off of In Silico, and it's called Showdown. And I remember hearing it and playing in like alternative rock bands back in the day. I always thought that it was so cool how In Silico was a mixture between electronic and like electric guitar, drum, all that stuff. And I think Showdown was probably the first one because I was a huge fan of just like crazy like riffs, like really sick guitar riffs, and that is the bread and butter of that album. So I think that really got me into it. And that first track has a crazy riff in it, and it's super fun to listen to.
Nice.
So yeah.
And so starting off on that route, then we move on to DMing Reaper and him saying, what? You definitely have some potential. I'm gonna put you in my curated playlist for Space Yacht and Critical Mass, and we're gonna make I'm gonna let you have the spotlight in there.
Yeah.
How does it feel to not only be a part of Space Yacht, but have Reaper bring you to shine on Critical Mass, the drum bass compilation, and then I'm guessing that also led to the 3-track EP of Warning.
Yeah, the Space Yacht, I feel like, I don't even remember what year it was. It was several years ago, and that was what I felt like my first like real show. It was my first sort of like actual out-of-state thing, because I was doing direct support.
September, October 2021.
Yeah, there you go. So it was like just after we kind of sort of got out of COVID, and I was working on music a ton in 2020, and I think that's what I was holed up, and I was making all the tunes, and I think that's where I really started to get, somewhat pretty good at making music. And yeah, Space Yacht, being a part of that was crazy, because I'd always seen their shows and their parties, and it always looked so fun. And I was honored to be on that Space Yacht compilation, because I feel like if you go back to that compilation and you look at all the artists, it's just full of people who are out there just absolutely killing it today. You have Justin Hawks, Skeleton, Segan was on there too, isn't
Yep.
It? Yeah, Segan, who's here tonight.
Yep.
Yeah, and just
Rohan.
Yeah, Rohan.
Marion.
Just
Nick P.
Yeah, it was a ton of people.
Shall I go on?
Yeah, it. So I felt honored actually to be part of it, and so it was really cool. It was insane. It was like I was finally doing my dreams all of a sudden.
Right, and then the Warning EP a month later. How did that feel? Not to mention, not only was it just the Warning EP, you also were a part of the contest for Tune Reactor. You were a special guest.
That was super fun. I was having so much fun going on Tune Reactor, listening to people's music. I love talking about production with people. Like I used to have my own Facebook group back in the day where I would like try to encourage people to share music and people could give feedback, and so it was really fun to do that. And I think what they're doing in terms of signing tunes like directly from the streams, I think is incredible. I think it's so cool and gives everybody a shot to be heard by whoever's just watching it and also beyond. So it's really cool, and that was super fun. And then the EP with Space Yacht was, I felt like one of my first pieces of work, like collections of work, even though it was just like 3 songs, where I felt super proud of it, and I actually listened to it on the plane over here. It's funny you bring it up, because I listened to it because I hadn't done it in a long time, and I'm still pretty proud of it, actually. I liked it a lot.
Proud enough that we could probably hear a few of those songs we play in this
Maybe. I have shooted those out because I have a lot of unreleased stuff that I want to share. But yeah, there's some tracks that are in there that I think you can tell that I was trying to like search for my thing. And I don't know if I necessarily have it yet, but I think I
Oh,
am close.
no. I think you do definitely have like
That's
that
good to hear.
pretty, like, established pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean, but we hear in the past you can definitely do other genres pretty dang well, but drum and bass is practically your home. Hello, Pendulum, Propane Nightmares, Witchcraft, all those songs, like they kind of inspired you to like go on this path. And now with you being in Reaper's pocket, it's like, you know what? I'm in this drum, and I'm in a drum and bass boat. Why get off?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm extremely lucky to be good friends with him, and I'm honored to play shows with him. I'm honored to be the guy's friend. He's super nice. He's one of the best friends I've ever had, I think. And it's so fun to watch him play and watch the big things that he's doing, because it makes me motivated to try to do stuff myself at the scale that he's doing it.
So basically, like your mentor.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's cool because I get to like just sort of watch and get his feedback sometimes, and at any moment there's collabs popping up, potentially one that we're working on right now that I will play.
Well, let's just speak about the first collab that you guys put together, The Power.
Yeah.
So regarding that collab, you'll have to talk about that sooner or later.
Yeah.
Regarding that song, how did it feel to work with him and actually do a collab? Like, was it almost like a mentorship? Was like you're listening to what he's doing, what you're doing? Was it kind of like a symbiotic type of relationship where it's like he'll listen to somebody what you're doing, what you're doing, and feed off each other or give each other feedback and make that song a pretty incredible song?
This one was really interesting because I wrote the initial version and I was happy with it, but I had sent him a bunch of tracks that were possible to do as collabs, and this was the one that he really wanted to work on. And this one was actually pretty, like, I like to work with people back and forth, but this one was pretty asynchronous. I worked on my whole bit, which was a complete song, but it had a lot of stuff that we took out and stuff like that. And then I sent it over to him, and I was just waiting for a while and really excited to hear what he would come up with. And then when I got it back, I was just sitting there, like, kind of laughing to myself because it was so fun watching, hearing what he did with my, all the sound design that I already had in there and stuff like that. So it was kind of cool. It was like getting Reaper to remix one of your tracks almost, and then hear it back. And it's like a fun style of doing collabs, because then when you hear it, it's like almost like the first time you're hearing it again. So that was how that one worked out. And I was like, a lot of the sound design, the little tricky bits in there, like he pulled off super well, and it was, I don't know, it was crazy to hear. So that's how that one happened.
Understood, and that's amazing to hear. Like, you guys made some magic together.
Yeah.
And speaking of remixes, how did it feel to remix one of his songs in the Bass Rush Records Disruptor LP album?
Yeah.
That was kind of incredible too.
Yeah, when they asked me to do a remix from the album, I was sitting there going, they were like, you can choose any track, and I was like, well, I should definitely do Make a Move, right? I should just do the biggest track, or what I think is the biggest track on the album, and just try to do it.
Debatable.
It's like one of my favorite ones, and I remember after I got the stems back, I was like, oh no, what did I do? I really want to do it justice, and I want to make it, I want to do that whole thing where I want to try to make it crazier than it is, and I want to give it my own style. And that is one of my most favorite sound design things that I've ever done. I think was the weird, sustained, crazy bass that I have going on at that one. And I knew I wanted to do a fake out thing because everyone knew the melody, and I wanted to do a build type, jump up style fake out. And that one just really. Sometimes I look back at that one and I'm like, how did I do do that in the first place, which I think is like such a weird thing to happen in producing. Like when you're getting deep in the weeds of sound design, you sometimes don't understand like what you did overall, but you came out with it. And I think that's the perfect track for that because I mean I love that one, and I'm so glad people liked it a lot too. And I had some of my favorite first times up on stage with him when he would play it and he would bring me up there. I think Bass Canyon 2021 or something like that was the first time I was up there, and all I remember was the pyro guy went totally off and was doing crazy stuff, and it was like one of the biggest stages I'd ever been on, and it was like just packed because people were there for him, and that's still one of the moments I think was probably the most motivating for me actually.
That's amazing. And speaking of Bass Canyon, you definitely had not only just blessed a few tours here and there and shows, you have definitely blessed the festivals here and there. Not only just Bass Canyon, but also Lost Lands, even EDC Las Vegas. You had to mention the Bass Ribbon Pines, and of course we can't not mention Forbidden Kingdom. So I'm just curious to know, with some of these festivals that you performed at and you were part of, is there any pros or cons about being on a festival? Besides comparing that to being on a tour or being in a one-time show, because I feel like a lot of people have their preferences, but where does Rebel Scum lie on the spectrum?
Man, it's really hard to choose because most of my experience now is in clubs, in smaller shows, and my favorite thing about those is being able to look the people in the front row in the eye and see everybody and just sort of hang out afterwards because there's more stuff going on, and I know REAPER's playing right after and I want to watch that too and hang out with everybody. But the festivals have been my lifelong dream, so playing Bass Canyon and Lost Lands this year was insane to me, and I think that those ones were really awesome. Even though I played earlier in the day, I was just so happy to be there and so stoked to see people show up to go see me. Sometimes don't believe that people are gonna show up to see you until you have your own slot in your own show that's maybe not a REAPER show, and see people come there for you and say hi to you afterwards.
Understood. And not to mention the stars were pretty much aligning for you to be at Bass Canyon because you were in the Space Dome for 11 p.m. to 12 p.m. 12 a.m. So and that was kind of a part of Bass Canyon. So did you think that? I mean, everyone we go to Lost Lands, go to Bass Canyon. When you first start off, there's not many people there, but you do notice that people are there listening. They're watching. They're not just going and walking away. They're still there for you. And then you go a few years later again and again, and you see it growing more and more and more. And it's almost like a progression of I'm definitely getting better at what I'm doing and what I'm creating. So I know you definitely had that bit of I'll say it, bit of self-doubt when you went.
Oh yeah,
but
totally.
You do, but also it's hard because again, even though there's not many people there, you're at Bass Canyon still. It's still, even though you're at the Space Dome, it's still Bass Canyon.
I know. That is true. Everybody I told, and I was oh yeah, I'm playing, because the Space Dome was a local stage, and I'm from Seattle, and I've been to every Bass Canyon actually. I played the local stage in the first 3, and then the second 2 I went with REAPER just to hang out, and then the last one I played, and I might be missing one, but that was such a crazy progression to see and super fun to do, and I had a really good time.
Thank you. And that's amazing to know as well. And not to mention Space Dome and all this stuff as well. We're really seeing within that scene of Lost Lands and Bass Canyon that a lot of these people. Hey,
that's REAPER.
Yeah, I know. A lot of these people, they had been they've been giving the spotlight. So we're seeing people like you, we're giving you the spotlight, we're giving you the attention, and then as time goes on, you see you rise to the occasion and shine the star that we know that you are. And it's not a fantasy, that's who you are. That's who you want to be. I'm about to start the whole
so nice to hear.
But I'm being honest. I love seeing the little guys out there like rise to the occasion and become like a headliner, become a special guest, and again, it's just so many people out there who have been seeing the power that you're giving out throughout your work, throughout what you're doing, and giving you the spotlight. Reaper's giving you the spotlight. Base Rush, the team giving you the spotlight. Heck, Monstercat, the label that really that one of the labels that taught me the power of all these genres, not just trap, not just dubstep, not just electro house, but also drum and bass.
Yeah.
I remember listening to like stuff like Buster and Muzz and Faints and COVID and all these people out there. So all these drum and bass legends out there, and then to see people like you be on that level as well. With songs like I think it was Don't Run Now, Don't.
One of my tracks.
Yeah, one of my tracks
called Running, maybe.
Not Running. That was
Do Not Resist.
Do Not Resist.
That's
that was
the
it.
one. Yeah.
It was Do Not Try to Resist.
Yeah.
And that was one of the songs that really stuck out to me. And I was like so proud to see like, oh my gosh, Rebel Scum is on one of my favorite labels that led me to be a part of electronic dance music. So incredible work there. And how does it feel like being a part of Monstercat?
Oh man, that is actually crazy. I have always wanted to release a song on Monstercat, and I don't know. This was where the self-doubt comes in. Like, I didn't think that I would be able to. So just being able to be a part of that roster of artists is awesome. I am super stoked to be part of Monstercat, and I feel like I want to release more with them, and I will try to do that for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, like hopefully we'll release a Monstercat again in the future.
Yeah.
We definitely do. You might make a collaboration with REAPER in the future. And you already have a few unreleased stuff that's already in your sets for tonight.
Oh yeah.
It begs the question, what else could be next for Rebel Scum?
Well, I have first off, I have a lot of bootlegs I need to release, so I'm gonna try to get onto that. But next year I already have some releases slated on Beacon Records. You should check out Beacon Records. It's a fun, awesome North American drum and bass record label that was just recently started, and I'm releasing with them. So is Kamarion, Justin Hawks, and Bensley. Their EP came out there. Mm-hmm. So I have a lot more planned with that, and I'm really stoked to just keep getting music out there. But really, like, what I'm passionate about focusing on, in addition to all these new tracks and singles that are coming, is some sort of collection of work, whether it be an EP or an album, something to sort of make a statement about what I want the Rebel Scum project to be. And that's just something that I'm constantly trying to formulate and work on. But in the meantime, there will be a lot of singles from there.
Understood. So I feel like, speaking on that, do you have a clue about what's the story or what the atmosphere of Rebel Scum would be? Because if you guys don't know, Rebel Scum has inspiration from a pretty amazing franchise with the Star Wars.
Yeah.
So and we look at some of the artwork and some of the even looking at the logo, the logo.
I got my Qui-Gon shirt on right now.
Of Episode 1, Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
And again, I'm curious to know what would the atmosphere kind of be. Will it be almost in space? Would it have Star Wars references? How would this kind of look like if you're going to create another EP or an album of Rebel Scum?
Yeah, I love Star Wars. I've always been a fan of Star Wars. The prequels came out when I was growing up, and so they will always be my favorite, and I love watching them. But
even the Jar Jar Binks scene.
Even through all of that, I love watching it. It's fun to watch it sometimes for those reasons too. Mm-hmm. And so I think that it's great. And I pulled the name from that because I thought that it was awesome, and I couldn't believe that nobody else had done it yet. But at the same time, I want Rebel Scum to have its own brand. And if you look at any of my art and any of that stuff, it has a lot to do with these sort of floating, monolithic UFO.
Like abduction.
Yeah, exactly. So each one of them is
like hieroglyph,
yeah,
like Zenith.
Yes, all of them do. So basically, what I'm trying to do is build my own fun sci-fi world. I'm super interested in UAPs and all that stuff, like UFOs. Big fan of all that. I think it's really fun and interesting to look at videos and talk about them. So even in my visuals, you'll see UFO, UAP related things, and I'm trying to incorporate that a lot more. I just think it's super interesting to think about.
So are we capture almost like the sci-fi world type of thing, almost like a History Channel. Like I'm thinking, I'm thinking, aliens. Yes. I was thinking of that. I was thinking maybe it could be that type of energy. Like if you want, make your own set or own intro.
Exactly.
You can have some speak that whole space thing and be like, we're talking about this. I saw this discovery. I saw this thing rise up from or the crop circle, that type of thing. If you'd like, I'd be more than happy to be that guy who saw everything and be like, no. Do you have an idea what was it called or who or what's his name?
Yeah.
His name is Rebel Scum. That'd be perfect.
I have a ton of ideas for music videos and cool visuals and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely. I would love to get into that a lot more and just sort of have the Rebel Scum have its own world. There's a story behind it. I'm not gonna divulge a lot of info now, but
save it all for the set, save it all for the store, save it all for the tour. And there will be a future tour for us.
Oh yeah, these UFOs, these things that show up in my art have a story behind them, and I want to unveil it as I go. And right now, I'm just sort of trying to do a bit of world building, basically, and I think that's super fun to do. I'm excited to do that part of the project as well.
Understood, and I can hardly wait to see this story and all these symbols unfold before my very eyes, and hopefully I can be the ones intro it in. I'd be more than happy as type of person. So again,
definitely.
Rebel Scum, thank you so much for letting me have a chance to speak with you.
Oh,
thank you so much for letting me.
It's an honor. I'm so excited that you wanted to do this. I'm so thankful, and I think that everything that you do is incredible for the EDM community, and it's so fun watching somebody like you have such joy and excitement around all of this music, like we all do, and I think that you personify it perfectly. I thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you so much. It's the least that I can do for the community. I'm just trying to do my part. Again, all of this is just a passion project. Me wanting to give something to a genre, to a community, I keep saying genre, but no, EDM is it's like a Venn diagram. That's the middle. We have all these genres around, but they all inspire me. They all give me so much joy and happiness. The least I can do, it's to save my life. And keep saying it. This EDM, I'll be honest, it saved my life. It gave me a chance, almost second life.
Yeah.
Me doing stuff like this is my way of giving back and saying thank you. And to the people who have made this music, made these beats through their laptops, through their minis, through all their stuff. It's all I want to know it's all appreciated. It's not just all for naught. You have people like me who are really feeling the music, understanding the music, and really letting the music just take over and just let it take over and control me, all that stuff. So I just say thank you for all that you do as well. Know it's your work, all you're doing, the type of journey you've been going on, all the people's journey that's going on this for tonight is not going to be in vain. I appreciate you all so freaking much. I appreciate you, Rebel Scum, so freaking much. I can hardly wait to see you shine and hopefully be the headliner that I know you can definitely be. Let Reaper pass on the torch and you know what? This is my protege. He is Obi-Wan Kenobi, you are Luke, and you are going to rise to the occasion.
Nice. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All I can say is, get your lightsaber ready. Hopefully it's blue or green, and I can hardly wait to see you shine on that stage in the next 20 minutes. Thank you so much, Rebel Scum, for all that you've done so far. Reaper, you've chosen an amazing artist to represent you. Thank you so much for all you guys are doing. Thank you so much for watching and listening. This is my last interview possibly on this freaking phone. It's sadly shattered, but I will be coming back in 2025 stronger, better, wiser, and just doing what I love for the community. This is only just the beginning, and I'm only rising to the top, and hopefully, who knows, I could be the apprentice. You never know.
Let's go.
But again, thank you guys so much for watching and listening. This is Lemon Jr., Rebel Scum, Reaper signing out. Love you guys so much. Peace.
Bye. Bridging the gap. Listen to it.